The title of this book is The Believer's Authority. It is written by our beloved brother, Andrew Womack. We are now in chapter 3, subpart 2. Chapter 3, subpart 2. After a couple of months, he came to me one day and said, I'm leaving this church. I'm going back out into the desert because there is too much strife here. I just got bold and told him, yes, there is strife in this church, but it is all coming from you. There wasn't any strife among the members until you came in here and started criticizing everybody. You are the source of this strife. Really? I didn't realize it. You didn't realize that when you criticize people over everything they do, that they aren't going to like that. This brother just sat down and began to tell me about his background. Then he said, I just didn't realize it was strife. I just thought it was normal. Then he continued saying, if you were to tell me to act, heal when I feel sick, I can do that because I've felt healed before. But when you are telling me to walk in love, I don't know how to do that. I've never felt love before. I had to take this guy and start teaching him through the life of Jesus what it's like to love people. Some flock come from background where screaming, yielding, and throwing things were normal. There are plenty of family like that, but it is not the way God wants us to be. God, James chapter 3 verse 16. Viper in your house, viper in your house. Do you treat stranger better than your own family? Many people wouldn't dare to treat me the way that they treat their own children. Yet they wonder, why am I having this problem with my kid? Yell at me. Go make your bed. You lose kid, screaming at me. Why haven't you done this yet? And see how our relationship get alone if that is how you treat your family. You have a double standard. When you bless your family member, people you are supposed to love more than anybody else, it is no wonder you are dealing with rebellion, strife, and division. If you want godly relationship, you have to start guarding your tongue. When you bless your family member, the people you are supposed to love more than anybody else, it is no wonder you are dealing with rebellion, strife, and division. If you want godly relationship, you have to start guarding your tongue. You have to realize that you can't tolerate such strife. Satan comes in through the door of envy and strife and work every evil work in your life. Will you allow a poisonous snake run loose in your house? If it got into the heating vent, perhaps you wouldn't see it for a week or two. But if you knew it was still lurking there, somehow you will probably say, I don't care how long it takes, I'm not going to live in a house with a dangerous, venomous viper on the loose. It might not be an immediate threat, but if you never knew just where it was, hunting. Strife is much more deadly than a poisonous snake. Alone with envy, strife open up an inroad for every evil work in your life. It is time you snap out a complacency and recognize that you are in a spiritual battle. You can't tolerate envy, strife, unforgiveness, or any other negative emotion. Some people took a pornographic image and think, well, I will never act that out. Every time you indulge your flesh, you are releasing spiritual power into your life. As you give more and more of a place to the devil, I guarantee that it will cost you something. Sin will take you further than you want to go, cost you more than you want to pay, and keep you longer than you want to stay. Every one of us is exposed to the force of the kingdom of darkness each and every day. We aren't on our rest and relaxation. We aren't in a secure area where our action don't really count. We are in a spiritual battle with a real enemy who wants to take advantage of us any way he can. Raised from the dead. Raised from the dead. God's words say, neither give place to the devil. God, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 27. Are you the one who gives Satan a road into your life? He takes whatever place you give him through your thought, word, emotion, and action. Your emotion can give Satan a place. Perhaps every once in a while you feel like you should just give in, and yet your guide down. It will just feel good to have a pity party. I have felt that way before. One night, my older son called on the telephone and told me that my younger son had died. Immediately, my wife and I agreed in prayer, spoke out faith, and commanded him to come back to life. As we got dressed, drove the hour into Colorado Springs, I had some negative emotion. I felt like, how long can you stand? How long can you be strong? Every once in a while, you just need to run up the white flag of surrender and let it out. Why not just weep and complain? However, I knew that if I started speaking forth my fear and unbelief, that it would have negated my faith. Even though I felt like saying, we lost this one, we are beaten, let's give it up and quit. I started building myself up and speaking positive word like, he will not die, but live and declare the work of the Lord, and you are a good God. I love you. All the glory to Jesus. We arrived in Colorado Springs at the hospital to discover that God had raised him from the dead. He had been dead for almost 5 hours, but about 5 minutes or so after, we received that phone call from my older son. My younger son just sat up and started talking right there on the slab in the hospital morgue. Praise Jesus. I firmly believe that if I had given in to and vented my negative emotion, we wouldn't have seen the victory. If I had spoken forth my frustration and complaint, saying, it is not fair, my son wouldn't have been raised from the dead, Satan will take advantage of whatever we give him. We are often hurt by our own tongue. End of chapter 3. End of chapter 3. Chapter 4. No wicked thing. Chapter 4. No wicked thing. There are times in life when you just feel like speaking forth out negative thought and emotion in light of the spiritual battle. However, these are times we must exercise our faith and self-control. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 31, the Lord revealed to us at what point we take a thought for our own. Take no thought, saying, a thought become your own when you begin speaking it out of your mouth. You can't keep all kinds of thought from coming across your mind. When I found out my son was dead, thought of grief, fear, and panic crossed my mind. I am human, just like anybody else, yet you can't keep from taking those thoughts as your own. Kenneth A. Hagin used to say you can't keep the bird from flying over your head, but you can keep it from landing there and building a nest. Negative thought will come a time, but you won't have to receive them. They don't have to become a part of you. If you don't say it, it won't be yours. Hung by the tongue. Hung by the tongue. Satan pass thought, feeling, and attitude across our heart and mind. So, how do we prevent these seeds from taking root, beginning to grow, and then producing the negative crop he desires? We just saw how we take no thought, saying, if you don't say it, then it's not yours. However, the moment you start verbalizing and speaking for these negative things, they become yours and begin releasing the negative power in your life. You need to take on this attitude. I refuse to speak for anything contrary to what I'm believing for. Some people are believing for healing. They have asked God to heal them and they are confessing, I believe I am healed, despite the fact that they haven't seen the physical manifestation yet. But when someone calls them on the phone and asks, how are you doing? They respond by telling the person how bad they feel. Without realizing it, they have just released negative spiritual force. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. You can't only just speak life with your tongue. You can also speak death. Sadly, the truth is that most of us release much more death than life. We counter ourselves with our own word. We are hurt by the tongue. Words are important. Words are important. You may be praying for one thing and then speaking against it. You may be praying for restoration in your marriage, yet you constantly criticize, beat down, and speak negatively about your marriage. On the other hand, you are releasing a negative spiritual force, death, that will counter what you are praying for. Even thought God wants you to move on your behalf and restore, you are releasing a contrary spiritual force with those negative words. You need to be careful how to speak. You need to be careful how you speak about your children. It is not wrong to state a fact. If somebody asks, don't say,